Hi, this is Lisa, and you're watching the Vampire Lounge. Now stay tuned, or else.
Hi, this is Miriam here in New Jersey, interviewing for Vampire Lounge with artist Lauren Curtis, and we're talking about her new book, My Mystical New Orleans. Lauren, tell us a little bit about the book.
Sure, Miriam. This is a photo essay book that I put together recently, focusing on my travels to New Orleans over the past many years. I've been there about 7 or 8 times, and I wanted to put together some of my favorite images that I've been shooting over the years from one of my favorite cities.
So can we take a little a peek at some of the images?
Definitely. These 2 photos I shot from my most recent trip to New Orleans this past November 2010. They just show that they really have a big sense of creativity. There's always street performers, a really kind of dark gothic sense of humor, skeletons and Day of the Dead type of images are everywhere, which is one of my favorite things about the city. These 4 shots are 35mm black and white images that I shot over the years of the famous Louis I cemetery. Most of the mausoleums are all above ground. There's some really great decaying statuary, beautiful wrought iron fences that are all throughout this basically city of the dead, right outside of the French Quarter. This is the cover of the book. This is the soft cover version. It also comes in hardcover. This is a photo I shot actually many years ago of the famous tomb of Marie Laveau, the Voodoo Queen of New Orleans. And you can see all the markings for luck and wishes that are inscribed all over her tomb. The last time I went, it was whitewashed over, but people have started marking it up again. And there's also many offerings that are left to her as well. It's one of the most famous sites in the city.
Those images were really great, really fabulous.
Thank you.
So what do you find the most fascinating thing about New Orleans?
Pretty much everything about New Orleans fascinates me. Just the whole combination of different spiritual and religious beliefs, the combination of cultures down there, the history that's preserved. It's basically like you're back in time almost when you're
right.
In the French Quarter.
What history do you know about New Orleans, and how does it relate to your artwork?
Well, it's a lot of Gothic architecture. They have world famous cemeteries, the above ground cemeteries. There's a combination, I know, of French, Spanish, African cultures, which can be seen in a lot of the architecture and the heritage down there. And it's just a very mystical type of city, which relates to a lot of artwork that I do. There's a lot of occult imagery and things like that. So I've always been drawn to that, and that's what a lot of my artwork's about. So
tell us a little bit about the architecture of the quarter, and how does it appeal to you as a photographer?
Well, as I said, it's definitely a mixture of especially French and Spanish, so there's a lot of ornate wrought iron work and scroll work. It's found on every house. I know that the colors, there's a lot of bright and varied colors of the row houses. Yeah. And one thing that's cool is they have to keep those colors the same throughout time, so it's all historically preserved. So you're seeing what that area looked like a couple hundred years ago. And there's just so much ornate woodworking on all the homes, these beautiful courtyards, gardens everywhere. So pretty much every street you walk down, there's just so many photo opportunities that you're just snapping away.
Get down there. I've got to get down there.
Definitely. That's what I want this book to inspire, is people to go there.
People like me. Is there a particular favorite spot in the quarter that you've loved to photograph?
Just really the whole area. Every street has these beautiful houses and plants. Street performers. There's just so much art and culture. Of course, like the voodoo houses and the Marie Laveau's voodoo house, and there's like a lot of tourist places, but they're a lot of fun. But there's also some really traditional artwork in them also, and at nighttime everything lit up. Especially Bourbon Street, Royal Street.
I've seen photos now. I've seen more photos.
Right, exactly.
It makes me want to get my butt down there. Are there other places beside the quarter and the Garden District that you also call out to your visual sense, and also, says do artwork?
Yeah, definitely. The cemeteries, like I was saying, the two Louis cemeteries, which is outside of the quarter, which, as you saw, there's a lot of photos in the book from those. And they definitely are great for doing black and white, 35 millimeter film shots, and those are all above ground tombs in different states of repair and decay. There's a lot of, offerings on a lot of them, so it's just really interesting. I had taken a couple...
Fabulous for black.
Yeah, definitely. And then a few years ago, I took a boat, like a small boat tour down the bayou into Cajun country, and that's just amazing with these giant trees dripping with all the moss. I actually pulled some of the moss off and made my own voodoo dolls with it. You could see alligators everywhere in the water. You could see into some of these little Cajun houses and areas and old cemeteries. It's like a totally different way of life out there. It's really interesting.
Vibe too, probably from the quarter and the Garden.
Oh, completely different. They're just out in the sticks, a whole other way of life. It's just really different.
Nothing like this urban life that we live.
Not at all, but it's really interesting.
What is it about New Orleans that you sought to capture in your book, My Mystical New Orleans, and how did the entire project come about?
Well, as I said, I've been there, I started going there as a kid, probably in the late 70s, early 80s, and I've been going back ever since. And I just wanted to capture, the mysteriousness of the city, the creativeness. There's just it's the birthplace of so much music, blues and jazz, so many art forms, and, so much spiritual history.
That's what I was going to say, spiritual history as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I wanted to capture all that. I wanted to encourage people to keep going there because, after Katrina and the oil spill, they've gotten so little help from the government, and those people just keep fighting and keep rebuilding, and, it's one of the most famous special cities in this country that really needs to be preserved. There's so much history down there. So with this book... Yeah, I wanted to kind of pay homage to this great place and encourage people to go there.
Slammed for the past 10 years, I would say.
Easily, yeah, exactly. So after this last trip, I got some really great shots that I was really happy with. And now, with being able to publish and design your own book online, it's much easier as an artist to do it yourself. I just figured it was the perfect time.
A really interesting thing about that, because that's something that I've been thinking about, being a photographer as well.
Right.
Is trying to make a book of certain things in the urban area here, and New York and Staten Island, and even the parks in New Jersey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a great way to do your own photo essay.
Right.
Get your work out there at an affordable. This way people can have access to a lot of your images for not a lot of money.
Exactly.
And actually, Miriam has her photography site at leclercgallery.com.
Exactly.
So
check it out.
We've worked on some projects together, and. Yeah, so maybe we'll have a series of photo books between the two of us.
Yes. We can do a collaboration.
There you go.
Collaboration across. We'll have to take maybe a year off and travel the country first. Yeah.
Which would be awesome.
That would be really awesome. We should do that.
Definitely. But so hopefully people will appreciate the book and the city. I made my first sale to the UK, and I might have my second sale in Canada, so the book's going overseas. And we'll see what happens from there.
Thank you. Gorgeous work. Images that I haven't seen, because I know so much of your artwork already.
Right, yeah.
Images that I haven't seen yet, so
some brand new stuff.
Check out the new book that Lauren's done, because it's some really beautiful images.
Voila. Voila.